Hi everybody, Dan Illman along with Matt Bernier. Welcome to the DRFBets Race of the Day for Friday, August the 31st. It's race number 2 at Del Mar, and you can play it with your very own DRFBets account. We're kicking off a 50-cent pick 4, and you can get 10 times the sign-up bonus when you sign up for a new DRFBets account, drf.com/bet. Bet 20, get 200. Here is the field for the I'm Smokin Stakes. Calbred 2-year-olds getting set to go 6 furlongs. You can download free Formulator past performances for this race on the Race of the Day event page, and you can handicap along with us as we take this field in post-position order. Number 1 listing, Matt, first-time starter, but when you look at this pedigree, you understand why they're going to take a shot against winners.
Yeah, why not? You know, you've got some nice quality in there. You see this one is a full sibling of More Complexity, who was a stakes winner in his own right, and got a couple of the decent horses in there as well. It seems like from the workouts that you can see at the bottom of the page, seems to be clipping along, and really, again, it kind of feels similar to the Philly race that we talked about earlier in the week, where, I mean, I don't think there are any superstars in here. If you think that you can come out and debut with a buyer in the mid to high 60s, all of a sudden you're a legitimate contender.
Not only a full to the stakes-winning synthetic sprinter More Complexity that you mentioned, but also Green with Eddie, 2-year-old stakes-winning dirt sprinter, career debut winner. This dam was a sprint winner at 2. She earned an 83 buyer speed figure in her second lifetime start. And these Square Eddies, they seem to win first out. 20% 2-year-old debut runners. So Listing's got some precocity in the pedigree and should be a nice price as he tackles on winners in his debut. Tough inside post. The 2 is Bees Boy. Bees Boy, never out of the exacta from 3 lifetime starts. Now just has to start running a little quick.
Yeah, that's the only concern right now, I think. You know, it's an instance where you got that forward move off that little bit of a layoff from June to August, but the problem is that forward move still makes him very, very slow. The 50 buyer certainly going to need to improve from there. I do wonder ultimately how good he is and does he actually fit with these.
Back in, though, with Calbreds. The only start against fellow Calbreds resulted in the lone win. That, though, for a $40,000 maiden claiming tag. The number 3 is Oliver. This horse stakes placed last time out in the graduation at Del Mar earlier in this meet. Watching that race, I didn't think he did anything right. He set a perfect trip behind a pace battle. He was under the whip early, and he didn't change leads in the stretch. Well, he did one thing right. He ran fast. He ran a 65 buyer speed figure. The race before that, he earned a 67 buyer speed figure. Maybe Oliver has already peaked after 4 lifetime starts, but he has an experience edge over these recent debut winners, and I think he'll be a decent price on this spot.
Well, and that's kind of the interesting thing here, because he's the fastest horse in the race right now, and I kind of agree. I don't know that he's going to really improve too much over the rest of his career, but at the same time, if you have any sort of questions about the other horses in this race, you're arguably looking at the fastest horse and the best horse at this current point. You know he's got some speed. You know he has tactical speed. I agree with you as far as his mechanics are concerned. Issues last time out. He was late with the lead change 2 starts back. So, I mean, I haven't loved anything that he's done, but at the end of the day, you might be looking at a middling price on arguably the now horse. He may not be the best horse down the road, but it doesn't have to be if you're playing this race.
The 4 is Hey Sal. This one got whipped by Oliver in his career debut, but really improved with the addition of blinkers and a drop in class. He dropped to the 50 level last time out, added the blinks, and if you believe those Timeform US pace ratings, color-coded red, he did all the dirty work en route to a pretty game win.
Yeah, got some decent pace ratings in there, 94 to 78. You brought it up. They're both color-coded red. I don't know what he beat as far as the field is concerned. The runner-up, who he defeated by a neck Irish Terrier, came back and earned a 41 in his next start. He did win that day, and the 5th place finisher of 44. I think from a company standpoint as well as a speed figure standpoint, he's going to need to improve.
Well, let's throw up the Timeform US pace projector, because Hey Sal is expected to be forwardly placed along with the number 5 Irish Heatwave and the number 7, that is 80 proof. We'll get to those horses in a minute. Irish Heatwave, beaten by Silken Prince, the number 6 in the career debut. But again, you look at those color-coded pace ratings from Timeform US. Silken Prince didn't break well, rallied strongly. It was a really visually impressive performance, but he benefited perhaps from that hot pace. Irish Heatwave, I thought, got a really good learning debut while close to the pace.
Yeah, kind of you need to make a decision here. I think they have a reason for upside anyway, based on that debut. The fact that Silken Prince broke as slowly as he did, a little bit late with the lead change, but I like the way that he was moving and he finished well. If you think he can be a little bit sharper out of the gate, then all of a sudden you're looking at a horse that's very, very interesting here. And as far as Irish Heatwave is concerned, you brought it up. He was pretty close to a legitimate pace based on Timeform US and the pace ratings. And okay, he got a little bit tired there at the end, but I think the most heartening piece of that was the fact that that was a Keith DeSormo first-time starter that showed that early speed and hung around. And DeSormo's horses very rarely are ready to go at first asking. I'd expect a forward move from both of them here.
Silken Prince is a half to a multiple stakes placed horse and a very versatile runner named Queen Bee to You, who is stakes placed on both turf and dirt. I think the 6 furlongs right up this one's alley. Might even want to go a little bit longer down the road, but it's going to have to figure out the break. I'm not sure this horse can afford to break slowly in this spot and beat this caliber of a field. The 7 is 80 proof, who made his career debut for a $50,000 tag, was bet down to favoritism, and I liked a lot of the things this horse did. He pressed the pace while in between horses, he attacked to make the lead at the 5/16 pole, and then despite swishing his tail in the stretch, he was off to the races. It was a good-looking performance, but he's got to step up in class.
You got to step up in class. From a speed figure standpoint, he does make sense, and he fits in here from a buyer perspective. Timeform US has that race a little bit on the slower side, so from that standpoint, he'd need to move forward. I have in Formulator written that he resented the whip throughout, and like you say, that was basically once the real running was all done. He had opened up at that point. I do question what he beat that day. You've got the second and third place finishers. They came back and earned 45 and 42 buyers, so you brought up the class. He's going to need to prove that he can handle the hike.
Completing the field is the number 8 Policy. It was a good thing in his career debut, ran to his pedigree and his price tag. This is a son of Strong Mandate who sold for $250,000, probably because he's a half to the Grade 2 stakes winning dirt sprinter Spectator, who was really precocious and early. I like the things Policy did. He sat in mid-pack. He angled out at the top of the stretch. No, he didn't change leads in the stretch, but again, I like to see these 2-year-olds pass horses in the lane, and I like that they're wheeling him back in 12 days. He must be feeling good.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is one of those horses that you brought up the pedigree. I also love the way that he galloped out. I think the additional distance is only going to be beneficial for him. I understand it's not a major stretch out. It's only a half furlong, but if he's a little bit more on the professional side this time around, I'm expecting a big move forward. And like you say, I do wonder if it's an instance where the connections look at it and say, if the horse came out of the race in good shape, he ran relatively fast, not thrilled with anybody else in this field, he has all the upside, I think. He has the most upside of anyone, put it that way.
Let's take a look at our top selections for the Smokin Stakes, kicking off the 50-cent pick 4. You like Irish Heat Wave, 6-1 on the morning line. This one owned by Calumet. Again, up close to those fast fractions in the debut. And Keith DeSormo, that he doesn't win first time out. This horse could certainly improve at a price.
That's kind of the way that I approached it. I wasn't enamored with anyone in this field. I liked what he did, what he showed for DeSormo, who's, I don't want to say notoriously, but is known for having them sort of take some time to get really ready to go and race into fitness. It was a good enough effort for me. I think he takes a step forward here, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if the outside horse Policy ended up taking a giant step forward.
Like you, I'm not enamored with anyone in this race, so I'll take the fastest one, and that's the number 3, Oliver, reunited with Joe Talamo, who was aboard for the win 2 starts back. I do agree with you, however. I think the number 8, Policy, might have the most upside potential of anyone in this race. I'm going 3-8-7-6 in the $100,000 Smokin Stakes. Kicking off the Friday early 50-cent pick 4, a bet that you can wager on with your very own DRFBets account. Sign up and get 10 times the bonus at drf.com/bet. Approximate post time for the Smokin, race number 2 at Del Mar on Friday, 4 o'clock Pacific. Good luck.